Welcome to the Musings of Jessica Marie. Summer 2024 is rapidly coming to an end. Many people enjoyed time with their kids while school was out, and some even planned fun family vacations to make new memories. The weather was actually pretty crazy with high heat waves and dangerous thunderstorms popping up all over the place. Before we flip the page to the slight chill of the fall, pumpkin spiced lattes, and ample hours of football to indulge in, let's shine a historical spotlight on the long, hot summer of 1967. The summer of 1967, also referred to as the Summer of Love, saw more than 150 race riots across major cities in the United States. While young white Americans traveled to California and other locations to rebel against the traditional cultural boundaries governing drug use and sexuality, Black Americans took to the streets and fought for their foundational rights, freedoms, and protection. There were more than 85 deaths, 2,100 injuries, and over 11,000 people were arrested during this time. It is estimated that there were tens of millions of dollars of property damage. Since the birth of America, there has always been a history of social inequality, racism, and abuse towards Black Americans that has never truly been rectified. Add poverty, discriminatory unemployment of Black people by white-owned businesses, mistreatment by police, and poor housing to the mix, and you get a fuse just waiting to erupt. Riots started to flare up across the country as early as April of that year, but they grew in frequency and intensity during the summer months. A riot sparked in Louisville, Kentucky on April 11th when Black demonstrators protesting for open housing during segregation were harassed by opposing white protesters who threw rocks and bottles at the group. Another one happened in Tampa, Florida from June 11th to 15th after police shot Martin Chambers for robbing a photo warehouse. Rioting spread throughout the city for 4 days, and as a result, 2 people died, more than 100 people were arrested, and damage was reported at $2 million. The deadliest and most destructive riots happened in Newark, New Jersey, and Detroit, Michigan, and provided inspiration for smaller cities like Cambridge, Maryland, to rise up as well. On July 12th, a Black taxi driver named John Smith was pulled over by police after passing a double-parked police car. The officers beat him in front of a local community before taking him to the police station and arresting him on false charges, including tailgating, wrong-way driving, and assault. The city's police already had a reputation for being unnecessarily rough with Black people, and after a false rumor spread that the cops had actually killed John, neighborhood residents gathered around the police station and threw bricks and Molotov cocktails while others began looting storefronts. The riot lasted for 5 days and was the most destructive in New Jersey history. About 26 people were killed, more than 700 were injured, and more than 1,000 residents were arrested. From July 23rd to 28th, Detroit, Michigan saw the highest casualties and damages since the New York City draft riots and the Tulsa race massacre. Police raided a party at an illegal drinking club and arrested all 82 people in attendance who were celebrating the return of 2 Black servicemen from the Vietnam War. Witnesses in the neighborhood protested the arrests, and some began vandalizing, looting, and setting fire to nearby buildings and vehicles. Attempting to stop the damage, police set up a blockade around the neighborhood, but the riot quickly spread to other areas of the city. Police and fire services were hit with bricks and stones, and the National Guard had to be brought in to stop the violence. 43 people lost their lives, 33 of which were Black. 1,200 people were injured, and over 7,200 people were arrested. 2,509 buildings were looted or damaged, while 412 buildings were completely destroyed. Property damage during this 5-day riot was estimated at $40 to $45 million. These are just a couple of examples of how communities turned up in the streets and fought against the unjust situations many had little to no control over. Want to see a list of all the riots? Don't you worry, I've linked them with the location, number of deaths, arrests, and contextual information right here. There was another outbreak of violent crime in December 1967 during the Christmas holiday season in Miami, Florida. Police Chief Walter E. Heatley accused, and I quote, young hoodlums from 15 to 21, end quote, of taking, quote, advantage of the civil rights campaign, unquote, that was then sweeping the United States. He ordered his officers to combat the violence with shotguns and coined the phrase, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. He was later criticized by Howard University professor Clarence Lusane for having a long history of bigotry against the Black community. Deadly force by police officers following natural disasters has also been used to control Black communities since the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, when Mayor Eugene Schmitz declared that federal troops were able to kill any person caught looting or committing crimes. It's been used in the aftermath of Hurricanes Katrina, Ike, Sandy, and Harvey, and more recently during the George Floyd protests in 2020. Throughout the summer of riots, both the Republican and Democratic parties were split on what to do. Some advocated for law and order, focused on harsher punishment to reduce crime, while others supported an approach based on social justice to ensure individuals' rights are recognized, protected, and they receive their dues like wealth, opportunities, and privileges from society. In the 1968 presidential primaries, Richard Nixon toed the line between the two sides and made a stance to control crime, scale back the war on poverty, and encourage Black capitalism as a way to restore urban areas. He garnered a lot of public support and was eventually elected victorious. As a result of the riots, the Kerner Commission was established by President Lyndon B. Johnson to investigate the rioting and urban issues of Black Americans. In 1968, it released a report that blamed the rioting on the widespread social inequalities experienced by Black Americans in society. The Kerner Commission also recommended that more Black Americans serve in the National Guard and Air National Guard as a more effective force to prevent civil disorder. Black Americans have always had to fight for equal treatment and fair policing. Social issues like discrimination, unemployment, segregation, unsanitary housing conditions, and lack of resources eventually force a community to the streets to fight for change. Unfortunately, sometimes action is the loudest voice that can actually bring about the necessary change for a group of people. If you enjoyed this episode, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up, leaving a comment, and subscribing to my channel. I'll see you in the next episode. Signed, Jessica Marie.